Hello, I'm Anika from Made to Sew. In this short tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to find a bust apex marking on a pattern if it doesn't have one. We're going to be looking at a number of different bodices, a bodice with a single dart, a bodice with two darts. Now it doesn't matter where the location of these darts are, we're just going to be taking a look at them and trying to work out where the bust apex is, and also princess seams. Now you will find that some of these methods are easier to work out the exact point of the bust apex or bust point than others, but we'll be getting close enough to where the bust apex is on the pattern. This allows you to make amendments to the pattern. It allows you to compare your bust apex point to the bust apex on the pattern and work with any dart manipulation or any other design details that you want to change. So collect up the pattern that you're working with and we can begin. We're going to start by looking at a bodice with a single dart. Then we're going to look at a bodice that has two darts. It doesn't matter where they are. And then we're going to look at princess seams. Now the most difficult one is a bodice with a single dart. Unfortunately, you're going to be able to get in the realms of where the bust apex is on the pattern, but not the exact location if the pattern hasn't specified it. So with a single dart, you're going to need to find the centre of the dart. Take your ruler and you're going to measure the distance between the dart legs to find the centre. You're then going to draw a straight line from the centre of the dart at the edge of the paper or the edge of the pattern to the point of the dart and continue it. Now, the dart is always going to point towards the apex of the bust. So we know that the apex of the bust has got to be on this line somewhere. I'm going to draw it in Sharpie so that it's nice and clear for you. Now, how far the bust apex is from the dart point is a difficult one to confirm, partly because different pattern cutters will use a different distance depending on what they believe is correct, and depending on the cup size the pattern was drafted in. Generally speaking, the larger the cup size, the further away the dart point will be from the bust apex, but that isn't always the case. You can find that the dart point will be anywhere from ½ inch to over 2 inches away from the bust point. So that's 1 centimetre to over 5 centimetres away. You could take a guess and aim for a sort of standard 1 inch, 2.5 centimetres away at this point, but it wouldn't be 100% accurate because you don't know, unfortunately, what the original pattern cutter drafted. Now, if you have more than one dart, it makes it really easy. Let me draw in this waist dart for you in blue Sharpie so that you can clearly see it. Now I have a second dart to play with. It doesn't have to be a waist dart, it could be a dart anywhere on the pattern that you're working with. Again, you're going to need to find the centre of that dart. Whether it's a contour dart like I've got here, so it's got a point at both ends, or whether it starts on the edge of the pattern paper and comes to a point, you're still going to measure the centre of it. So with the contour dart, I'm finding the widest part, which is at the waist of my pattern, and finding the centre. I'm then going to draw a line, I'll use that red Sharpie again, from the centre of the dart up to the point and through the point. And what we should find here is that the two lines from both of the darts intersect. And where they intersect is our bust apex. Now, again, I've worked in Sharpie. My lines are going to be a little bit too thick to be really accurate here. But when you're working in pencil, you should find that you get a nice accurate mark of where the bust apex was designed to be by the pattern drafter. So the minute you've got more than one dart, it's really easy to get a clear location of where that bust apex was designed to be. Unfortunately, if you've only got one dart, then it may not be as accurate, but it will give you an idea. But as I said at the start of the tutorial, the key to this is actually going to be to compare their bust apex with your bust apex. That's what is important. By understanding where the bust apex is on the pattern, it will allow you to do dart manipulation, to move your darts around, to back them away from the apex if you need to, whatever you need to do to amend your pattern. Now we're going to look at princess seams. Now I'm going to show you two different shaped princess seams. One princess seam is closer to the bust apex than the other, but both of them have the same thing in common, and that is that your side front panel, the panel with the curve, is going to have the greatest amount of curve at the bust apex point. So this pattern is going to be connecting here, and you can see the bust apex on my coping pattern, and that curve is going to be in line with the bust apex. So if you're unsure where your bust apex is, again, you're not going to know precisely the point of the bust apex, but you're going to know whereabouts it is by the shape of the curve. The same on this pattern piece here. Another adjustment I made to the coping pattern to produce a princess seam, and this princess seam goes straight over the bust apex, so the curve is greater. And again, you can see we don't know the exact location, but we can be pretty accurate with our guess because the fullest part of the curve is the bust apex. As I said at the start of the tutorial, it's nice to know where the bust apex is on the pattern so that you can make any amendments that you need or see whether your bust apex is in the same place. But really, it's more about knowing where your bust apex is, positioning that onto the pattern and making any amendments you need to accordingly. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial and that you now understand how to find a bust apex or get as close as possible to finding the bust apex on a dressmaking pattern that doesn't have one marked. In my next tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to take some measurements to your individual bust apex that you can position onto your dressmaking pattern so you can place your apex onto the pattern. It will then allow you to make amendments to the fit so that the bust apex, darts and everything are in the right place for you. Thanks for watching and see you soon.